Hello ladies and gentlemen, Dave Dobbs here. It's the 2nd of November 2024 and it's this is going to be probably my most important video out of all the videos I've ever made, and so it's going to be quite an intense message. It's going to be it's all going to be about what you can do right now in preparation for what's coming in and what's coming up. And there's lots and lots going off at the moment across Europe. They're giving a 72-hour warning, or a 72-hour kind of provisions warning, saying that people should have 72 hours worth of food and water and such like. And you've just seen the incredible flooding in Spain. All this incredible flooding in the northern hemisphere, as I've been telling you, is going to be happening because of the passages of these great objects that I'm going to upgrade my current astronomical model and give you a better understanding of the solar system that you really live in, and through that, and by that means, give you the opportunity of triangulating and understanding your place in the scheme, in the cosmos, in the cosmic scheme of things. How can you be cosmic in this world if you do not know your place in the cosmos and you have no connection to it? That's what this video is going to be all about. And if you're willing to stay with me through this time, I'm going to blow you away, and it's going to take effort, but I'm going to take you through it bit by bit, and I'm going to take you on a journey. And there's been corrections to my model, as I was discussing in my live stream that I made. I started making a couple of days ago, and apologies, it was such a bad feed as I was coming up the device's flight, and which is a load of locks leading up to devices, and it's a staggering amount of work, and I had some assistance, but I had a really bad signal. But I told you there's going to be some corrections, and I was kind of midway and kind of like trying to get to the bottom of those, and hadn't properly researched as I have now all the latest data, and so now I thought I'd take you through that data before we talk about the whole array of what's really going on right now. Because you have to also understand that they are about to fire up the Large Hadron Collider on the 6th of November, and this is a very high-powered lead-iron collision. And my message when I wrote Laughing Gas, as I said last time, this was the first thing that I saw when I jumped on a plane to write Laughing Gas and to go off to India to lock myself away. I jumped on a plane on the 10th of the 9th of the 8th, 1098, 7653321, Big Bang. And that's what this is all about. And so much of the science that you've been led to believe about the Large Hadron Collider has led so many to follow it, because they believe this is a fusion system that they're building. But it is absolutely not. This destroys matter. This collides matter at unbelievably high speeds and releases all of the energy within. And this, what they call gloopy plasma, or whatever they call it, all these different aspects that they get as they put more and more energy in. They're putting 14 trillion electron volts in now, and that's it means so little to us really, but these are staggering amounts of energy. Remembering you're putting 14 trillion volts. This is per pair, so that's nearly 7 trillion electron volts in each atom. God knows they're doing billions of collisions a second, and so you can imagine that in each collision there's a combined collision point of 14 trillion volts with particles traveling. You remember all this energy going into these lead ions. Very soon they got them up to the speed of light, or 99.99% of the speed of light, and then beyond that they are their mass starts to increase, because if they can't go any faster, then the energy has to go somewhere, and they're getting bigger and bigger. Now they're absolutely massive, and as I said in the back of my book, when I wrote Laughing Gas, this was all about getting enough human karma together to make this world destroy itself. You know, the gods can't do it. We have to do that. These planetary flybys, these don't destroy worlds. We destroy our worlds when we feel that well, we're going to explore all of this. We're going to explore the big agenda of what's going on and what you can do to prepare it. And if you're just going to if you can't handle data and you're not science minded and it's just too much to even consider any of this and you just can't go there, maybe, you know, you're completely locked on to kind of like the carbon dioxide story and you believe that, you know, you can ignore that my local volcano, Stromboli, Etna, you know, Stromboli, quite a big volcano, but very small in the scheme of things, is 80 million tons of carbon dioxide on a big eruption, on one eruption. 80 million tons. You can imagine big volcanoes like Popocatépetl and Sheveluch on the Kamchatka Peninsula and Taal in the Philippines. You know, these are big volcanoes that are kind of like 3-4 times that amount of carbon dioxide at least. You know, they're just like, you know, and we're talking about we want to be carbon zero. I don't deny climate change. I can see the climate is massively changing, and that's massively changed since 2007. This massive onset of this exponentially increasing storms that are just mega storms and mega flooding as a result of all these volcanoes, massive increase in volcanoes. Remember this time last year it was 61 volcanoes going off simultaneously. That was off the record to anything we've ever seen. All of these particles going in the air from these volcanoes and this massive heat that's coming up from the oceans as these fault lines under the oceans are boiling the ocean, sending all this moisture up to be caught by these tiny particles and rain back down in the form of these mega superstorms. Except that now we're right up until 2000 and you know, when we saw May the 4th 2018, the big volcano, the Hawaiian volcano going off in Honolulu, and it's part of the whole Honolulu thing, but it's the name will come to me in a sec, but the volcano that's next to Honolulu, it will come to me. But that went off on May the 4th 2018. It was the first of the long duration volcanoes, and that's when we saw all of these planets coming to the ecliptic. And I'm going to take you through all of this in this model because there's corrections, and through this model we can really start to understand and give you motivation to do the absolute best type of preparation that you were sent to this earth to do, to protect the genetic. You know, you borrow the genetics that you hold right now and all the wisdom and the knowledge that you have. If you can survive this, you can take wonder on. If you can't survive this, then so much of this is lost, and you have the opportunity, if you want to survive this and to get through this. And to witness this whole thing. You know, I do not believe they're going to make their war happen. My whole message was that the vibration of Earth is that humanity is not of war. It is deemed humanity is not of war, but it is subverted with war, and that will change. But we all have to witness that. We have to become the change. It's not going to come from without. It's going to come from within us all. We're all going to rise up and become part of this change, one way or the other. You know, and you know, that's what's happening here. And so we have to remember that if this Large Hadron Collider doesn't go off, then this big object that's eclipsing the sun right here is going to well, let's explore this. Let's come now to the before we dig much further into this, let's delve into the astronomics. You know, like I say, you know, just talking about crossing the ecliptic, because the reason we're seeing this object right there is the only reason that can eclipse the sun right there is because this object is coming in on the ecliptic right there. It's right on the ecliptic. And so these objects are coming from the southern aspect of our solar system. And so we also saw all the superstorms around the Ring of Fire. But now that is coming into the northern hemisphere, as I've been telling you. And then we saw the long duration volcano with it, like I say, in 2018 in Hawaii, and then in 2000 and I believe 21, we saw the big Iceland volcano going off, and then that stopped, and directly after the La Palma started and went off and became the longest duration volcano we've ever known, even longer than in the days of, say, Galileo in 1585, where we were saying it was the longest duration volcano ever recorded. That was broken in 2021. We're breaking all the records. Everything is going off the radar. Everything is redlining, and we can see it, and we can predict it, and we can move ourselves around to if we have the warning. So I'm asking you to, if you can't do anything else, then at least send this video out to your friends and to your loved ones who you care about enough to say, listen, we need to start preparing, we need to hold on to food, we need to hold on to water, we need to take real assessments of what's happening with the weather, and if it looks like we have to move whatever, we have to be ready, we have to have fuel in our cars, we have to kind of know our exit points, we have to know, we've got to get an idea of what's going down, and that's what I'm going to give you in this video. So share it. Get it out there, and if you can help me at all in all this, I'm asked, because I'm absolutely broke right now and I want to go out and do this. If this video means anything to you at the end of it, please think about making a donation to my PayPal, and I will go out and do the same, because right now I can't even afford to do that. But I know my work here right now is to get this information out there. So guys, all I can tell you is take a few breaths, because I'm going to blow you away now, and so you need to kind of like make yourself a cup of tea or something. Get some breaths, get yourself into a position where you can get away from your belief blinkers a little bit, put a big golden ring of light around yourselves, take some breaths. Try not to control the narratives in your head, because this isn't right or wrong. It's just my best understanding of what I'm seeing is going on, and I'm trying to make sense of it. My model has perpetually changed all through this process, and no doubt will continue to change. Like all science, like all understanding, it evolves, and this is just the beginning of understanding this whole system. And the people come years down the line from me will hopefully, I pray, will take my workings that we have been able to witness through this grand transit and use this to better understand and evolve our understanding of the system we live. This has been our opportunity. These whole passages past our planet have been a mega opportunity to truly understand our exact place in the grand scheme of things. And so record this video, repost this video on your own channels, repost it on wherever you can. Get it out there, please. I give you permission to share it on your own channels. This channel that you're watching right now is shadow banned. No one's going to see it. It's not going to reach public audience. If you follow this, put it out on all of your channels, break it up into episodes, put it out, do what you will with it. Get it out there. Think of it as your opportunity to do something to help people. If you cannot articulate this stuff yourself, this is your opportunity to articulate it to other people. This is the Dobbs model. This is the ever-evolving Dobbs model. This is the best I can do, and it's taking all that I've created so far and going to try and give you the opportunity to have the greatest and best understanding, so you can truly triangulate to your place in the scheme of things, and through that connect to the cosmos. And through that connection to the cosmos can meet you in that great intelligence. You are not meeting the cosmos with a deception. Now, that does not mean that my model is exactly right, as I've said. But to meet the cosmos through an absolute lie and deception is a thwarted connection. It's a belief connection, and the universe struggles with belief connections because they're not a true connection to who we are. They are an invasion of our reality. And if we choose to go with our beliefs, we will be, or our souls will be leaving us to allow that which our humanity is choosing to tally with, You know, this is the grand bottleneck that we come here. When this object that eclipses the sun comes past Earth at perigee, at its closest point to Earth, it will create a plasma burst. And that plasma burst will deliver singularity to this Earth, because it will fry the ego transmission system. And that is a science fiction thing. It's that I love so much of who we think we are is electronically transmitted through the gravity of this planet. It's not our true soul connection. So much of our doubts, so much of our insecurities have been piped into us through technology. Our egos, as it were, have been piped into us through technology. This system will cancel that. This will break that signal. But as we come into that, if human beings are absolutely, each human being that is absolutely attached through belief to its ego story, it can go with that as well. There's no right or wrong in truth. This is you actually helping. Those who choose to bring their egos in are bringing a soul into this realm. They're birthing a soul into this realm also. They are in service to a soul. Just like those who are working with their fifth dimensional higher selves, they are in service to a soul. Humanity is in service. It has always been in total service to soul. And you know, that's the experience that the human goes through. And if there is this exchange, any human being that gives up, the soul will be leaving to give for this Passover. They allow. It's an exchange. It's not just they are walking out and the ego is getting everything. It is an exchange. It is a karma exchange. So if your ego takes your human body, or if your humanity decides to tally only with the ego, then it takes on the human karma of this earth, of this world as well. It is an exchange. Karma, you cannot take your karma to the fifth. That's not, this is the place where all this is sorted out. Only your highest and your best goes to the fifth, which means that if you're going to leave that behind, it's an exchange. So this is win-win-win situation. Doesn't matter how you sliced it. There's no good, there's no bad. It's just a new soul group coming in and a soul group moving on to the fifth. And this grand cycle that's been going on for time immemorial, and this massive attempt by those that are absolutely terrified by all that they've done and the heinous crimes, and the desperate, those who really drive this agenda, that want their own world, that want to take, you know, Mars was Zion. This is where this is all started. This big process that I talk about, you know, where this big tear occurred and it split the earth open, and that this big fault line between Hawaii and the Kamchatka Peninsula, this 4,600 long fault line made of seamounts or volcanoes that have been boiling the oceans from underneath when we were getting all the earthquakes in the southern hemisphere, and the big tear where the dimensional tear occurred between here on Mars, and where all the water drained out because of a large hadron collider, the ultimate fission, the ultimate bomb, the biggest bomb of all that was detonated on Mars and opened up a dimensional tear. The water didn't travel across space. It didn't travel any distance. They were occupying a unified field. They were combined by the field, by a unified field. There was no travel. It was literally, the magma also came out of Mars. You can see the drainage holes where the water went down. And that was Zion. And this same process is being attempted to take the water, the seas from Earth to now Venus, and to repeat this whole thing through this by using the leverage of religious war in the Middle East to create the war. And that's what I wrote about in the back of Laughing Gas. I know I read that last time, but I read it in terrible light. And Dobbs is unwittingly becoming an undercover psychic detective on the trail of the greatest gold robbery ever conceived. So large, in fact, it's taken quite some time, millennia in fact, to plan and get everything in place. Now it seems all the thieves have to do in this romantic and deeply obscure psychedelic thriller is blow the safe doors. But there's only one thing powerful enough to bust through the walls of this dimensional of this. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get up to the light again. Terrible if I put that open. It's because I've got Shakespeare with a bob face over the top of it, and it obscures the text. So sorry about that. But this to bust through the walls of this time-locked, vaulted world, and that is karma. If you can harness enough of it and apply it in the right way at the right time, well, karma mixed in with the essential incendiary ingredients, pain and fear, then it can be blown clean off its hinges. I'm sorry, I read that last time as well, but it's so important that we get an idea of what we're dealing with, of why I wrote Laughing Gas, the big message that's coming up of what Zionism really is, of what this whole thing really is that's going on, and these massive plans to create the fear. And the only way they can, a hungry man is an angry man. It's a no-brainer. You can see what's about to go down. You can prepare for this in so many ways, but you can see by the scale and the size of this eclipse that something big is very, very close by. And so let us dive in. Go and get your cup of tea. Go and get your everything else like that. Go and get yourself comfortable. We are now going to delve into the astronomics of what's happening now, and it's going to blow you away. And if you don't know this, and you're being sent this video by a friend, or you're being sent this video by someone that really wants you to kind of prepare on some sort of level, go and get yourself comfortable. Do not see this as right or wrong. Do not fight this with your mind. Just open your idea to all the sightings and just understand that this is just one person's attempt to make sense of all these sightings and trying to evolve an understanding. And there's been thousands and thousands. I've got 20,000 subscribers. I've had 20,000 subscribers for I don't know how many years. It never goes up. I'm endlessly told I've been desubscribed from your channel. Many people say I have to desubscribe from your channel because I get attacked. I get every story, but I stayed at 20,000 subscribers. I don't know how long. So it's just, I don't know, but out of all the thousands and thousands of people that have followed my channel over the years, when I went out to do the big show for the big Flyby in 2017, and we did a big show with Steve Olsen, and which was aired by all the different radio channels and loads of different channels, and he got it out to 6 million people. But the Dobbs model was massive on the internet. Now I've been virtually deleted from Google. Now I've been virtually deleted from YouTube. So my only chance of getting out there now in these last days is whoever's watching out there. I don't do too many thank yous or anything on the internet. I've got to be honest with you, because we got to get past this. There's nothing to thank for. If we don't get past this, if we don't get through this, we failed. This, all the thank yous, all the everything, all exists beyond this. If we get through this, if we get past this time, if you can come out of this want to be carbon zero and realise that, yeah, the climate is changing, but maybe going after carbon zero isn't the solution, and maybe abundant clean energy is the solution. Maybe kind of like the abundant clean energy, the real ace in the pack. That is from so much of my abundant clean energy narratives and talks come, by the way, blessing to Pete Moore, who's an incredible poet, and look him up. He does a lot of poetry with Estas, Dome and stuff like that. He speaks over loads. He edited Laughing Gas, actually, so bless him, and thank you so much, Pete, for all your wisdom, all your wise words, you are truly a legend on this world, mate. You are truly a legend, a greatest genius I think I've ever met. I just want to tell you that, mate. And if you hear this, follow him on YouTube. Follow him on listen to some of his poetry with Estas. He will take you on a journey that would just blow you away. Beautiful, beautiful, amazing being that's done so much for this world. And I know he's struggling at the moment. So many are struggling at the moment. So go and get your cup of tea. And I'm going to take you into this now. And we're going to go on this massive journey. And I'm going to take you through the astronomics of where you truly are. So, okay, so this shot, posted by UFO Mania. The truth is out there. Great channel, I've watched him for quite some time, just posts amazing material. Caught this shot, posted it up, and now you can see what we're going to do is we're going to flip between my various different models, but that's eclipsing the sun there. Now if I come to this model, which is the last model with the overlays, I remember this shot by Nick Thomas on the 9th of July 2020. Now I've always assumed I've got the big red object that all of these objects, so I'm calling Herculobus in this model. The we get many shots of the red object. Let me just quickly shoot forward. That shot there, that was posted on the 1st of the 1st, 2021. You've just got countless shots like that. I assumed, notice this is the big blue one. We're going to explore these as well because we've got lots and lots of shots, blow your away shots to bring into this. But so we saw this posted, and I placed the big red object over here that this object is orbiting. I'm calling Jupiter because it has the orbital mechanics, if you like, of Jupiter. Not that it goes around the sun every 12 years, but that it goes round the sun once in, it takes 11 months to go round this object and our sun. So normally it would just orbit this object, but it's got so close to our sun that it's being drawn in by our sun and doing a loop around our sun. And many of these planets, at least three objects of this system are going right around our sun, and 2 are staying between the dwarf planet and our sun. And so we're going to explore all that. So I saw this shot. So you can imagine that I was assuming we were coming close to the exit point, and so that's why I kind of built it there. And it was very difficult to exactly isolate where the big red dwarf planet I call Herculobus in this one was. And so I've had it in the October position for quite some time, and I've managed to make most of my flybys work, or at least give you a kind of an understanding. And this has, notice here in this model, let me just come over to this model without the overlays and just remind you of, this is 262, when we had 3 days of darkness and earthquakes all across Asia, all across Europe, all across Africa. It was the downfall of the Roman Empire. This is where the Romans got decimated. They'd ruled for probably, 500-600 years by basically decimating anyone who opposed them and imposing their law and taxes upon them, and ultimately decimating them and enslaving them. And then 262, they get decimated, and after that they reform as the Roman Catholic Church, and now they're operating as a belief system, as a belief to encourage other people to do these heinous crimes. And rather than doing it directly, they're using belief systems and invoking these ideas that they've got holy rule, and telling those that follow to do heinous crimes and invade each other and take land and endlessly divide and conquer nations. And so that was 262, and I discovered that date by mathematics because I thought it was 274, and then I'd worked out I was 12 years out, and I looked up to see what happened in 262, and I found 3 days. I couldn't believe it. I've been looking everywhere. So it gives you an idea that the mathematics of these things when you start seeing. So that's 262, and what I'll do is I'll just speed that up very quickly, just because we're just going to remind ourselves of just like. And these are going to go round, and after 5 cycles of our sun and 6 cycles of Herculobus, they're going to sync back up to where they were in 262, which is where they are right now. And so we're coming into Galileo's time, and we're getting closer and closer. And now we're going to come into, this is where we're going to come to, the discovery of what was 1846, the discovery of Neptune, and then 84 years later. Remember, it's just remember this. It's like just to take you through the oddity of it. It was 1590. 1596, 97, for discovery of the first dwarf planet ever. They called it a variable star. So it kind of had this odd movement, and I'm just going to add a wobble to this. For the first time we can begin to add a wobble to the red and the blue one. So we're going to, but then we go 84 years later, and we're going to come to, well, you know, just staying around that time, it's kind of like 1610, Galileo's going to discover Saturn. 1613, he's going to discover Jupiter. This is Kepler's time. This is all the same time. We're going to go back to kind of like 1606, depending on how you look at the calendar. The 1606 Julian calendar, on the 20th of January. Remember the 20th of January, we're going to see a massive tsunami in, we don't know how big the tsunami was in the West Country. It could have been so much bigger than we're told. This could be the real root of what many call the mud floods and the whole Tartarian stories. But you know, we're gonna go 84 years pretty much after kind of the first dwarf planet, and we're going to come to 1681, and we're going to see all these big flybys, these unusual sightings, and that's going to be, of course, Galileo's time. Galileo's going to round it all off. He's going to come out with all his astronomical models. Going to come out with the idea that he's going to add density to Kepler's rules of orbital mechanics, basically, and we're going to boil it down to Isaac Newton discovered gravity, but it's more complex. This whole orbital mechanics is more complex than that, but ironically it's 84 years after. Then we're going to go to 1781 or whatever, and we're going to come to, you know, the Jupiter, not Jupiter, we're going to come to Uranus. You know, William Herschel discovering Uranus, and he's going to say it's got an 84-year orbit. And then we're going to come to, like I say, 1846, and we're going to be coming to the discovery of what we're going to call big blue object again. So, you know, we keep saying, you know, Galileo sees a big blue object. You know, we see this massive sightings around the same time in Isaac Newton's time, 84 years later. And it's not exactly 84 years after, it's about 100 years, but we're going to sort of like, we're going to be getting Uranus, which is going to be given an 84-year orbit. And then we're going to go not exactly 84 years, but we're going to come to, like I say, 1846, and we're going to give it a 2 times 84-year orbit. And then we're going to go to 1930. We're going to 84 years after, you know, after the discovery of Neptune, and we're going to say, oh, big blue planet, oh, that's Pluto. And then of course we get Carlos Rada's big prediction, which is coming onto the model where we are now. This is how we get to this astronomical model, and what enabled me to build the mechanics of this. We're going to explore in this, and we're going to see this, because you can see here I've got Herculobus on the inside and the Sun on the outside, orbiting something over here. You know, to sync up. It's 1800 years. Every time they sync up, it takes 1800 years. So it's a very, very big cycle. 2 of these cycles is 3,600 years, which is why I'm of a mind that the 3,600 year, orbital cycle actually, Zecharia Sitchin and all the others that go on about the 3,600 year cycle. This is what this all comes back to. And but it's a much more complicated model when you start seeing it. Anyway, in my previous model, this model, you'll notice that what I call Pluto, in the last model I called it Herculobus, but I change it because they're Pluto, whether you call it Pluto, whether you're calling it Uranus, whether you're calling it Neptune, whether you're calling it Jupiter, whatever you want to call it, or Eris this time, or whatever, every 84 years when it turns up we reinvent it, and to keep us in this astronomical lie. But there I've got it on the outside, and I've got the Sun on the inside, and the bits that we understood was the relationships going on between, because we could see these relationships, and so we could start beginning to build the bigger picture by working on the astronomical mathematics, all of these sightings presented to us, and start building out like a big Sudoku. And so in the last model I was of a mind that there was a possibility that I was wrong, and so I built it and I changed the cycles around to give us this same relationship, and incorporated it to give us this same interrelationship of 2 systems close to each other at these specific points. But I'm of a mind that after this video, you're going to think that this is a clearer understanding of the planetary movements. Well, I think this is actually much overall closer to the truth overall, even though it hasn't got all that. It only goes up to about 2020, and this new model, I think that the new correction is going to be much closer to this. But we'll use both models, and we'll bounce back between both models. But you can imagine that when this eclipsed the sun on the 9th of July 2020, there was an incredible shot that Nick Thomas posted. And then we, I don't know if I've got Steve Rad's shot in this one. Maybe I haven't got the shot of Steve Rad's, but we're going to just keep to the relevant shots right now. That shot here that was posted by World of Signs, he posted it on November the 24th, but I think it was like the 20th or 22nd of November. But it was late November 2022. And I was of a mind that because of that, this object had come around the dwarf planet and was on its way back, and we were seeing it there. It's like here I was expecting the crossing to come, and the reason we were seeing it there is it had come round by that stage, and we'd got round here, and we were seeing it come back round. But it was just like, oh my goodness me, how does that work? Could that be? And so many of these shots have been confused by this new model to desperately try and understand. But like I say, I put all these together to give myself the opportunity to explore all the dynamics, to work it through. None of these models are right. They're giving us a potential understanding of, in our mind's eye, building a bigger window. Because once I've got the last bits of data on this, and these are the last bits of data, I can then put a lot of effort in going to build a much more detailed, much more fantastical model to bring in so much more data. But it's a painstaking process to get it to that stage. So okay, so I'm now realizing that shot and that shot are the same. They are this object. Instead of coming round here, so where have we got Jupiter there? Let's come to this year then, 22. We see Jupiter coming in there. We see an amazing shot of it in on the 2nd of June 2023, and then it comes round, and actually let's go to 2022 where we're seeing it. So where it's over there. So that's why in this model, that's why there's been so many mistakes with this model, and it's, you know, like I say, it's a work in progress. But what's actually happened is this object. Let me just show you, before I show you that on a model. We can see it's eclipsing the sun there, but check this shot out here. Well, we can see there, you know, Mr. MBB posted that. Mr. MBB 333 posted that on the 21st of October, and it's just saying, what the hell is that crazy shadow being cast out and up there? Is that a cloud system, or is that, what is that? Well, I'm of mind that is that's doing that. And then we get this shot posted on October the 20th 2024. If we come back to the daylight site, you can just see it's that, and you can barely see the other object there. So that's the big red one, and that's the big blue one. Now this was caught in I don't know how to say that, Soldotna. I don't know if I'm saying that, but Alaska basically, you know, and we're seeing, and then so that was posted. What was the date on there? It's actually a date stamped. So these are FAA. I think they're FAA webcams, but they are. let's go to the local time. No, what's the date? 19th of October, which was that. And then, so we can say that's a lens flare, but isn't that funny? The same lens flare. Now, there it is again on the 27th of October. And he darkens it a little bit, I think, just that just gives you a bit of a kind of better picture of things. But seen from the northern hemisphere, but yet we're not seeing volcanoes going off in Iceland yet. So this is, though we're seeing it there from the northern hemisphere, this is affecting. It is in the northern hemisphere, but this is Oregon. You know, the big earthquake that happened in Oregon that's just happened. I'll show you how we can triangulate that as well. But see the light? Now imagine if that was the moon and you were seeing the moon and it had that slither of light. You know that it's nearly, it would be just coming out of being between the earth and the sun, as in a new moon, not a full moon where it's behind the earth from the sun, the sun, the earth, and then the moon, shining the sun back, being a full moon. That's coming into like what would be a full moon if it was completely the opposite to that. That's coming out of like new moon phase. Now remember they said, oh, you're going to see the moons, you're going to see they said, oh, you're going to have Earth's going to have a second moon, that Jupiter's moon should be visible. It's not Jupiter's moon that's visible, it is Jupiter that is being visible. But we've been so lied to by our current astronomical model. You know, all the kids, they use all these different kind of astronomical models, and they all build they only can build our astronomical model as we've been told it is, with a static sun, because every planet is given a different perihelion point, and we're going to explore that because we need to understand some of this to understand that. But I didn't even think we'd get a shot of this because of how close it would be to the sun. But amazingly, we are getting these shots right up. You remember all my original kind of like subscribers were mostly, and all the big filmmakers and all the big Facebook groups that were showing Planet X and astronomical sightings were either, you know, British Columbia, Alaska, kind of North America, kind of like, you know, New Zealand, and even the northern or the southern aspects of the globe. And so there's a lot less solar bombardment up here, so we get a little peephole. But we wouldn't be able to see that from where we are down so much closer to the ecliptic than Alaska. But look at that. And then, you know, he put another shot up, and that went, when did he put that up? He put that up on that was caught on the oh, that was the 27th as well. So that was the same shot. Okay, so I thought there was another one that he caught as well, but okay, that was, but you can see it's a tiny slither, so we can understand that that is not a long way away. As we'd see, you know, if that was further away, we'd get a much bigger slither of light. That's coming right between us. This object that is orbiting, that is heading off to orbit around, is much, much further away. And so, what was the next shot that came up? That was an interesting shot. I think we're going to explore. Well, I mean, this is of a mind. I'm of a mind that's caused the earthquake in Oregon the other day. To kind of understand the position of it, I'd have to just bounce through over to here. I just took a screenshot of solarsystemscope.com, which you can just go onto. It's a free application that you can go and look at where all the planets are, you know, in the solar system. But you'll notice that's where the moon was when the Oregon earthquake occurred. So, you know, it's the moon that transmits that force, that acts like a lens for that energy. So if you draw a line between Earth and the moon, you'll see that this object is somewhere over here, and it's actually been coming around the sun to actually, you know, instead of coming in around the sun and going out, as I thought it would go out in August, somewhere like that, and coming out and going all the way around us like that, it's actually and going all around us like that, it's actually it's come right round our sun. and it overtook us on the, you know, in that shot that we just saw, that's just come in where it eclipsed the sun. It's come past us there, and now it is over here somewhere, and it is on an exit strategy. It is going to go past the, it has to go out past the orbital track of Earth to go round the red object and do a loop round. It absolutely has to, because all the other objects do the same thing. And so that's why the earthquake happened there. But obviously we're tracking around towards that. There's absolutely no doubt that we're going to be very, very close to this object, that they are very concerned. This is what the fuss is all about. This is why the big agendas that are all doing what they're doing everything is in response to this big flyby. But of course it's not just this flyby, it is all of the other objects that spin around with it. And I don't know if you've been noticing, but there has been asteroids, there's been asteroids galore going on just lately, and comets, you know, Comet Atlas, and suddenly they're just turning up like the buses. And so we're going to just briefly go through where you know, because just coming back to what I'm showing, just coming back to that was a shot of Jupiter also on the 20th of July, the day my mum died, 2020. You know, just countless shots. What was the shot I was looking for? Yeah, this was a. We're gonna remember the shot I'm looking for now. That was an incredible shot of the. When was that? That was on. I'm assuming it's the 7th of September, but it could be the 9th of July as well. You have to excuse that shot, but nonetheless, you know, it's that side of the Earth, and it just corroborates with that it hadn't actually. This was still kind of coming in between us, and so. Yeah, so there's a lot of confusion with this. With this flyby, is very confusing, because though I'd laid out though it will. If I just come to, I got it there. There's that model with it's the same model as before, but it's just like I say, they're just the other way around. The dwarf planet is on the outside, and the sun is on the inside. But nonetheless, you have this kind of relationship of all these planets coming in. They don't actually orbit like that. They're all actually just orbiting this big red one. I call Pluto in this, but like I say, you can rename it. You can with all the different whatever we're renaming the big blue planet. And but now I'm understanding that we're starting to understand where this one sits exactly now, and. You know, it is much closer to this. It is just simply much closer to this model. This model was actually so much more accurate, and now I need to rebuild the whole thing again with all this new data. And there's other aspects, but okay. So let's explore the. Let's explore the current flybys. Now you see this shot that was posted. I'm trying to think what date it was posted. Does it say on there? Normally it might have it on this model. Exactly. I keep all the dates, but every time I'm picking them up, every now and then I do kind of like, oh, when was that? It was after that, wasn't it? I know I haven't got the date of it, but I think it was like 2022. But more than that, really, I just want to kind of remind you of the shadow effect that we get when the sun's on the other side and the sun hits the object. The object itself, in the hub of this thing, the dust clouds it kicks up around it, they catch the light. But anything that's dense inside there blocks the light, and so we get these odd this is what creates the kind of like the comet kind of effect, like a tail. So there's been a lot of activity with these as well, and these are a big part of what's also affecting us now. And these, if you like, are, you know, there seems to be 4 of them, and we're just going to explore the flybys that have been, because there's been a mental amount of flybys. And before, I used to only explore these because the big red one and the big blue one, there just wasn't enough data overall to make sense of it. So I'd keep them and I'd post them every now and then, but I was much more about the mechanics of the twin tails, because back in 2000, what enabled me to predict that big flyby on the 17th of on the 20th of January 2017, on Trump's inauguration, was the mathematics that had appeared every 200 days. And I started predicting flybys of comets, saying, guys, could these all be the same thing? Is this what happened? And obviously as soon as I posted this, I realized, you know, that what I was up against with chartering this journey of seeing this thing. But of course, this really put me on the map. It was a massive one to predict. It was a game changer, but it also brought a lot of fear into people, because suddenly, you know, a lot of people become Christians, a lot of people turn to God, a lot of people behave very differently when they see this system, because they see the awesome power of this, and it has an effect on people. It's certainly had a massive effect on me. I've devoted my life to try understanding this astronomical model and doing my part, because I know that you know, the next time that anyone has the opportunity of getting a window of this will be in 1800 years. Literally, this is it for it. You will not be able to have the type of understanding of this whole model for another 1800 years. And this astronomical model, through this, you can begin to get a connection. What you do with that connection to the cosmos is your affair, but at least you have the right to open up a connection to the cosmos through this and communicate your intention through that as a conduit to connect, not to go to the cosmos through a belief system, but through an astronomical attempt to define your place in the scheme of things. The ultimate shamanic journeying is knowing where you are before you go off and journey. You know, if you don't know where you go, where you are, how are you going to get back? You know, you can very easily be lost if you're living in a lie. If you're living in, and we live in so many lies, like we want to build nuclear power stations on fault lines to stop the carbon dioxide spewing out of volcanoes. You know, all in the name of saving the planet. All this greenwashing, all this effort to go out and buy a brand new car because it's slightly more economical, even though it consumes 100 times more fuel in its manufacture, you know, than it will ever use in its lifetime. You know, in India they buy a car for life. You know, in so many countries there's so much sense and so much greenwashing in this country, and all built on all this carbon trading nonsense, when we could be investing in abundant clean energy and amazing solutions. But we're lost in religious beliefs, so many different religious beliefs. Now we've taken Jesus off the cross and we've put the earth on the cross. The earth is dying for your sins. You've got to go to war, you've got to buy an environmental car, you've got to kind of like believe that carbon dioxide is evil, you've got to kind of like, you've got to believe in building nuclear power stations on fault lines, you've got to ignore all of this data, you've got to live all of these lies to avoid seeing this. So what has been coming in? Well, that was an incredible shot. Obviously, you know, that was explored in my last video. I've just got that video there just so we can scoot up and down it if we need to. But okay, so Mr. MBB 333 posted this video, and he posted this on the 20th of October. Although you can see that it is the 7th of October, and they're assuming this is Atlas coming in, except that ironically this planet will not orbit the sun. It won't go round the sun. It can't go round the sun because it's not travelling fast enough to go round the sun. Ironically, it's looking like it's going to go around the sun, and it's going in all the right directions because it has been slung off from the big red planet. And so you can see where as it goes forward here, look at the Earth there, that's the Earth on the left. Look at the massive burst of energy that has come out of the Earth as this thing has come closer. And that's a stereo Secchi A, which is basically, there's the Earth and there's stereo Secchi A looking at this angle here. And then you'll notice that with another shot that he also records. The reason I'm using the video from the October the 20th and not the video he showed at the time when this came in is because he's brought all the information together here a little bit more, and he brings in the I'm assuming it's a Soho shot, because then we get this shot here which he also posts, and this was Soho corroborating that shot, and that was on the that was also on the 7th of October. Caught by the Soho. So it looked over here like in that shot like it was really close to us, and but actually when we actually see the shot there from, where's the shot from? From the Soho observatory, or whatever you call it, the satellite, we're seeing it's actually this isn't going round the sun. This is between the sun and Earth, and when it's going off, it's being drawn in, if you like, by the sun. But the sun is moving in the exact opposite direction from where we're looking at the moment. It's heading out. It's moving forward, going towards the 21st of June, 21st of June. And this object won't be travelling fast enough to keep up with our sun overall. So it can't actually catch our sun. So even though it's shooting out like it's going to catch our sun, it's actually going to come back. And that's why I showed that shot there, because I'm of a mind that is that object now going back into the night sky, because it just can't make it round our sun. And I'm going to explain why, because it's been an incredible barrage of shots just coming in. So we had that shot. Was there anything else in that video that I wanted to? So let's move on to the next shot. Then we see this posted by Third Phase of the Moon. Now they posted this 4 days ago, pinned on October the 29th, and you see, when you play this video, I'm not going to play this video, I haven't got permission to play it. I don't know if, you know, he wasn't too sure where it came from, but it just been surfaced on the internet. He can't verify it. But if I just scroll along there, you can just get an idea. This is some kind of plasma lightning. But you're noticing all this other red light dust is also coming through. There's something up there that's coming through that is super conductive, which I'm of a mind is iron particles in the actual that are coming down through. They're conducting all the energy that sits up in the ionosphere, and you're getting this plasma effect dumping down, arcing through this iron, causing this massive short, if you like, in the ionosphere. This is what we should be tapping into. We should build towers on all of our buildings going up into the ionosphere and be tapping into this free energy that is abundant, that is above us. But we don't do that, do we? Because we don't believe in, really don't believe in abundant, clean energy. You know, we want to go to war for oil, for depleted uranium, for uranium, for kind of like for corporate energy dependence. That's what we're in, this massive battle that's driving us, when we can see the evidence, when something comes through the atmosphere, you know, something's making that happen. And then we saw this shot here from, ironically, just going back to that shot, he just then shows you that shot, comet, hello, you see the comet going off into the night sky as well. You're like, guys, what the hell is that? I don't know, but we just had something massive affect us. We see it on stereo Secchi ahead, and we see it on the Soho. We've got all this evidence of it coming in. Now we're going to be told it's going to go around the sun, but it won't go around the sun. It can't go around the sun because the mathematics don't allow it to go around the sun. So we're going to explore what we're about to see here, because we're going to start about to get really interesting. Anyway, he posted this video and he showed two what looked like comets, and one coming one way and one coming the other way. And for me, this was very telling, because it was just like, I can begin to understand these. So we're just going to remember these two shots, because we see them coming in and passing, and it's just like, oh my God, he's talking about two. He said it can't be jets playing chicken, and it's just like, it's just, what the hell is it? It's just it's anyway. We're going to explore that a little bit, and we're going to try and remember that, and then we're going to come to this shot here, another thing, just plunging through. You know, it's just like, it looks, you know, he zooms in and looks at it, and it has this really weird sort of shape, like almost like a confusing shape. And he kind of he reverses the you know, light is dark and dark is light sort of thing. He transforms the picture just to give you an idea of that shape. And the reason you get these weird shapes, do you remember I showed you that this here, you get these kind of like unusual shapes in the clouds, and these are characteristics of objects that are flying by, that have these massive tails that look like clouds, but actually they're actually flying objects with their massive iron ore tails that they pick up from the dwarf planet that spews out iron. It's so dense, it doesn't spew out like our sun, you know, photons and it's not hydrogen fusing into helium. It's moved up the periodic table. It's spewing iron. It's that dense that it is turning whatever the atoms are before they're iron. You know, as something moves up the periodic table and it becomes the next atom and the next atom, as more and more pressure is pushed in, and you know they compress and they form new atoms. They jump into new atoms if there's enough pressure. This isn't hydrogen going into helium. This is a heavy sun. This is a dwarf planet that has way moved up, and it's got very, very dense atoms. It's far heavier than our sun. You know, and so it's so anyway, the reason why we're going to understand these weird shapes is when we come to was there any other shots in there I wanted to show you? He shows you again that shot there from the stereo Secchi B. Now we're going to come to this shot here. Now quite a few people caught this, including various shots of this have been coming in, these three objects that come into the sky. And we've seen these over and over and over again. When we see them in the February March position, we only see two. For some reason, when they're traveling over there, we only see two. But on this side, we see three. So one of these objects, they fly together, and which basically means that this object got so close to our sun that all of the planets that orbiting the dwarf planet all fell into our sun simultaneously, which is why they travel together. And that's what gives them this odd pattern. But one of them doesn't go round our sun. Well, two of them don't go. There's four of these objects with these twin tails, with these tails, and we've got three of them here. And there was many shots of them. And the crazy storms that seem to come, but these are actually quite far away from us now. These are actually quite far away from us now, and what this is, you know, I'm beginning to start getting a much better understanding of this now, and you know, just keep getting these amazing shots. And so then we saw this shot here. Now see, we've got this characteristic of these two, which is very odd. That's the same as that. Now Mr. MBB 333 posted that. You know, he gets sent. You know, he's been doing it for a very, very long time. He's one of the main kind of like sky watchers that I follow, really, and you know, I'm a great admirer because he does the work, and I so wish I had his dedication to get all these different people's pictures up and get them out and post them, and also not give too much of a heavy opinion about what they are. Be open enough just to allow them to be what they are. He doesn't push them. You know, I take all of these different ideas from all these others, and I try and build an understanding of them. I'm not trying to be the best sky watcher ever. I'm just trying to make sense of all this data. And when I saw those, they're both the same. Notice how bits of these things disappear. Now that's just because the light is the shadow of the object is cast there to its most intense point, that you can basically, you know, the Earth's atmosphere is like, from the outside, is like a bright sun. So when you're looking up, if I was to shine a torch into your face, you know, in darkness, you'd see the bright light, and there would be black all around the torch. There'd be dark all around the torch. Yet when we look up and see the sun, we see the sun, and then the sky is all blue. Well, the reason the sky is all blue is the light is hitting the oxygen in the air, the O2, and it splits it into O and O. A photon splits it open into O and O, and then those single O and O's will go, single oxygens will go, and they'll oxidize anything. They'll oxidize anything unless it's inert, but they'll basically oxidize pretty much anything. An asteroid coming in, they'll oxidize oxygen. They'll oxidize O2 and produce O3, a very unstable oxygen. If anything goes near it, it will just zap it. And so that process, as photons hit our atmosphere and cause this process, create this bright plasma-like light in the sky, which makes our Earth look like a bright sun. If you were out in space and you would look at our Earth, you'd need goggles because you'd blind you. It'd be like looking at the sun. So you'd need goggles to look at it because it would be so bright, you know. And that's what our sun is doing to our Earth. And so when we're looking up, what we're seeing, the light there, is all of this light sky, and the lights, when you're looking up and seeing, that's being by the light generated by photons hitting our atmosphere, this bright light. And so if anything is darker than that, then you just disappears out of view. And because you're seeing the same thing here, you know that there's something circular inside here that is not catching light. There's something not just square in here, but there's something circular in here. And so you're not seeing the sphere itself. You're seeing the kind of the aspects of the tail which are being caught out and silhouetted where the light isn't coming through. And so that's why we get that effect. You know, only that which is being lit up out in space that you're actually getting to see, and so this is the twins. Now, I was always of a mind, like I say, that the twins, as I've got in this model and the last model, was that they, if you come to 2000, first time we, you know. I didn't know this was the twins, but I'd calculated it years ago I'd calculated this as I developed this model. But we get the 2011, the 11th of March 2011, and a planet passes. Then we go around the Earth, and we come to 2000. Or we go. Sorry, let's start in 2010. Let's start on the 26th of February. Remember, 26th of February 2010, massive. 26th of February, actually, 2010, we get the big Icelandic volcano on the 26th, and then on the 27th of February 2010, we get the massive 8.8. So we're getting something coming from north to south, effectively. We're seeing the evidence. It's affecting the north and the south. It's not coming in on the same ecliptic plane at that time. It's still coming in it coming in from at that point, from, like I say, from north to south, and then we go. So that was in 2010. Then we go 1 year, 13 days later, and we get Fukushima. So we know we've got something that it's a year later, but it's got a 13-day difference in astronomical position. The two biggest seismic events outside of the 2004-2005, tsunami that affected, Boxing Day tsunami, on Boxing Day 2004, and then we have to go 12 years later. Notice we get lots of sightings of the pair, like Becky Lewis caught on the 28th of March 2016. We get countless sightings. We caught it on we caught them very small in 2012. Was it 2012 or 2013? I think it was 2012. Maybe I've got them, but they're so small they wouldn't really do justice in a picture like that. We've had many shots of the pairs, and we'll explore those, but we're just getting shots of those coming in, but I'm able to predict them because of all the different sightings, and I'm able to kind of predict that we are going to see the biggest flyby of the return of those. And I'm saying, look out for them. They're gonna come in 2023. We get both sightings of the massive, and we get the big earthquakes in Turkey. We saw them coming in. I said, look out for them. They're going to be massive. They're going to look exactly like big red clouds that surround you. You're not going to see the object. You're only going to see the big cloud of red oxide that it drags along. And you're going to know it's got a mass in there because it's all gathered around something. It's all moving along. You're not going to have you can't have a headless comet. You can't have a headless comet. You can't have a load of gaseous dust moving along in a hub without a mass dragging it along. So you can't just have it's not gonna move along, and it's got to have density to orbit something. Everything's got to kind of like, if it's in an orbit around something, it's just going to float like a gas, or it's so because Mr. MBB 333 also posted about, they're saying now another comet's coming through, so they keep inventing them up. And I always say, well, how are they going to explain that it's not going to go past the sun? So now we've got the latest excuse: a headless comet, a massless comet. This is not a massless comet. There's density in this that's drawing it along, as in the other. NASA will always throw you a red herring to try and give you some excuse. Oh, that's because it didn't have any mass. It all broke up. Yeah, it was just going along. It was just a big cloud of the tail of the dust that just decided to hang together and to keep going along, even though its mass had just gone off for a tea break or disappeared or collided with something. It didn't collide. It just decided to keep on going because it was loving the journey. No, that's not rational. That's what they're putting out at the moment. Headless comets over Halloween. They're just taking the piss out of us. Just absolutely seeing if we buy this nonsense. See if we get away with it. When you say, oh yeah, I got to do that. Yeah, you need to go to war, pick up a gun, or we need to go, well, yeah, we need to build a nuclear power station on the fault line, to save the world. It's an environmental move. If we buy this bullshit, they keep feeding us these reasons. The headless comet, I just thought was absolutely hilarious. That wasn't Mr. MBB giving that rational. That's what he was reading from on the thing. It's just like, it's just utterly. It's we can just see all of this evidence. There's so much fantastical evidence of this. Anyway, when we saw the twins, and I said that you're going to see them. You can see I call them Kerberos and Charon. Charon was the remember why I call it Kerberos and Charon? Because every now and then they give us the details. Like if we come to just remind ourselves of got Pluto up there. Pluto has 5 moons. So Charon was discovered in the 70s by Richard Harrington. So and is about half the size of Pluto. Now this is the recreation of what Galileo was saying. This is the recreation of kind of like what William Herschel was saying. This was recreation of what they were saying when Neptune turns up. This is a recreation of obviously Pluto. We do this every 84 years. When you know, so Charon was, you know, the biggest planet, and then we've got 4 other planets. Well, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing 4 flybys, and this big one, and that Galileo was calling Jupiter. We called it, like I say, a different name each time. Just remembering what shot we were at. What shot were we at? We were at that shot there, because there's more video. There's more shots that I think we can explore in this one as well, because we get this. We get other few. We get the pair there, but what the dates were on those, I'm not too sure. But what I was assuming was that, as we see, I call them Kerberos and Charon, just to name them after, in this case, the moons of Pluto. You know, because, you know, that's what I called them in the last model, even though I'm calling it this time Herculobis, which is what Carlos Ferrada called them, because of his big predictions on the 20th of January. Again, how this date keeps repeating. Remember, the big sighting that I saw coming in came on the 20th of January 2017. Carlos Ferrada's big prediction when he said a massive blue object would fly by Earth on the 20th of January 1939, the year the Second World War began, and exactly when he said it would, exactly where he said it would occur, in Chile. You know, around the 20th of January 1939, and a massive earthquake happened. Thousands and thousands of people died. Everyone just laughed in his face. No one prepared. No one, and thousands. It was a massive earthquake, absolutely massive, just as he said. And so I was imagining when I was talking about these Kerberos and Charon flying by there, we had the flybys, we had the sightings, we had the seismology, had everything we could ever want. We saw the big blue one as we're seeing this year, and noticing I've got them flying out in the June-July period, when in reality what's happening is this object is on this side, and they are coming in across, and they're flying around just as I've got here, but they're not crossing in July, August. They're coming right round here and coming across here. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing them coming right round here, in between us, and heading out towards this object from whence they came, this big red object. So it's kind of, both these models are true. Both are a massive exploration to see if I can up and correct, see if there was a possibility they could be the other way round. But in actual fact, the original model was correct. And as best as I can see with all the data we're seeing here, because this is the first time we're seeing all of these objects on this time, and this object all being on the same ecliptic, and all these objects coming in at the same time in such fantastic details. I mean, we've had so much other data, but this is fine-tuning before the opportunity of really getting down and putting massive effort into taking this model to the next level, and making it so much tighter, and making it work so much better. You know, and yeah, this knowledge is just, to me, this is just phenomenal to finally see all these bits. So these two have come round here. So if you can imagine, 2 have come in. So let's just go back to my say this model for a shake, which is just that last model with some overlays. And we just remember that if we came back to do you remember where we saw, when I posted this video before, and I said I said, look, they've got some very, very interesting data coming in. Was this from 2004? That's from 2004 to I'm just trying to think. I've got the whole model in because there was third phase of the moon posted. Maybe that was it. I still got it. Maybe that was it. Maybe that's the model I'm looking for. If I go back to see the 3 there, we see coming in there. That was published on February the 2nd, 2021. and we saw the three. And we've had other sites where we've seen the three travelling together. And like I say, what I'm of a mind there is actually happening is if we also remember that shot there on the 14th of October 2016, the massive plasma burst between the big, whatever that big blue one is, which I'm of a mind is Jupiter plasma charging in the northeast sky at 10 o'clock at night on the 14th of October 2016. And it's just some epic shot, a plasma blast of the most epic proportions goes into the size of Mars. Now, Will Thornhill, the Thunderbolt Project, and all these sort of people will tell us that what I showed you earlier, the kind of like the Valles Marianas on Mars was caused by a thunderbolt, and yet the day we see the massive thunderbolt that Will Thornhill will never ever talk about, because you can see this, what they're creating with the Thunderbolt. The Thunderbolt Project is all about when this all comes to pass and the big thunderbolt happens, what are they going to say? What are they going to present to us? They want to create a new religion that has no cosmic connection, that is devoid of reason or cosmic connection. You know, when I turned up in America on the 17th of March, on the 17th, for the big flyby on the 17th of August 2017, and the big flyby came in literally as I touched by, and I was just like, oh my god, it's just come in, it's just been seen on both sides of the Atlantic, exactly 200 days after the 20th of the 20th, 22nd, whatever, of January 2017. My previous prediction, which had been right on the button with kind of like a, you know, an 8.0 earthquake in Papua New Guinea. The whole thing was just like, guys, you know, what do we want? What do you expect? Has this thing got to come down and kind of like knock on your door? It's just like, why can't we move for our beliefs on this? How are we so bound to absolute stupidity where we can just be offered the most ridiculous ideas over and over and over without any evidence and make the most unbelievably stupid decisions? What is it that we can't move past when we can just see this? But we saw that there. We saw the three coming in, and then when I turned, like I say, on the 17th of August 2017, you know, and then ironically I did have that. Do you remember the ESO released a press release saying that two neutron stars had collided 230 million light years away, or 230 million light years away, and two neutron stars had collided and caused a big bang, and a burst of gamma ray radiation had hit Earth along with a burst of electromagnetic energy. And they say that this proves that electromagnetic energy travels at the same speed as light, gamma ray radiation, light. It's just like, hang on, guys, what? No, it's just like running down these absolute. And yet when they take these pictures of Eris, you know, we can take pictures of Eris. This was the New Horizons, New Horizons team member in an interview with The Verge when they sent the, you know, I think it was around about 2007, and they sent it off to kind of try and find Pluto. And in the interview, the team member from the New Horizons satellite, kind of like you know, the ones who sent it up there, said in the interview, we can take pictures of Eris even though we're further from it than we would be if we'd stayed on Earth. Now we're supposing that they've gone out to beyond Pluto and everything else like that. So they've supposedly gone from Earth, they've gone past Mars, they've somehow got past the asteroid belt. They've managed to get through the asteroid belt, and using no doubt state-of-the-art kind of tinfoil they'd used in the 1960s, and managed to punch through the asteroid belt and then got to Jupiter and then gone past Jupiter and then they got to Saturn and then gone past Saturn and then they got to Uranus and they've gone past Uranus and they've gone to Neptune, they've gone past Neptune and they're getting out to kind of like, and they're going to Pluto and they're going to beyond Pluto, and yet here we can take pictures of Eris even though we're further from it if we would have stayed on Earth. But we're looking at it from a unique angle you could never see from Earth because Earth is so close to the Sun. Now, why did he say that? Why did he say that when we're getting shots like that? Why did he say that when we're going shots like that? Why would he say that when we're getting shots like that? Crystal clear where we're seeing it. That's closer to our Sun, isn't it? It's exactly what he's saying there. You know, what they've effectively been doing is when this flies by, they fly to Venus. And that's why all the satellites, they never go via Mars. None of these satellites go out to Mars and slingshot from Mars. They all go to Venus and slingshot from Mars. And the reason they go to Venus is they go around Venus and they go either up or down. Or they've been going to Venus, round and down towards the system. You know, not that that's Venus, but that they've been actually flying out towards Venus. They slingshot down from Venus, and then they go down to the to Jupiter, from where it's really been. We've been living in a massive astronomical lie for so long, but we were there, weren't we? So we were kind of exploring. Where were we there? We were exploring that, and how that is the pair and how they've come out. And so that means that we have only, so we're understanding that I wasn't wrong. I've actually been right about these, about how long they take. I was just misunderstanding that shot for a little while. And so these kind of like, these are as I've got them in all the astronomical speeds of the objects I've got in this model are correct, apart from this inner one here. And you know, it goes the opposite way around. And there's a model here, but there's a flyby. You know, I've shown the twins, but there's three of them, and there's a third one that actually comes in, and I'm of a mind. That's what I'm of a mind. It's happening there. There's a third, and the third one is what Mr. MVB showed on the on the shot that came in from Stereosecchi B and the Soho Observatory as well. That it's basically it's coming in from the dwarf planet, and it's coming in and it's looking like it's going to go round. But it's coming in like that, and as it comes in, it's going to orbit. It's looking as if it's going to orbit the Sun, but it can't. The Sun is actually moving it's moving away from it. This is more over here. This is, so I've got the angles of this. This is way more behind the Sun as I've got it in the original model. But so this is over here, and this is coming in like it's going to go round, but it's actually cutting across. And then it's looking like it's going to go in, but it actually carries on, and it will come back round here, and it will join these other two. And so they come in towards the Sun. Two go one side and one go the other. Like I say, it looks as if it's cutting in because it's being drawn in towards that, but the Sun is moving too fast for it, so it can't actually do an orbit round. Which is more evidence that the Sun is on the inside, and these two, and the. All right. Good girl. People walking by making a bark. And so we're now kind of like, so we've now got I think I've got an understanding of three objects that are coming round, along with Kerberos, what I'm calling Kerberos and Charon, and another object, plus the big blue one. And we're also understanding that the big blue one now is let's come back to the original model without the overlays, and just imagine, you know, from 1939, from Carlos for a big prediction in 1939, and you know this you know the fundamental difference between say kind of like Zecharia Sitchin's model, where we've got this understanding of a kind of of our sun and all the planets as you understand them orbiting our sun. You know, our big heavy sun that's made of hydrogen going into helium, the lightest elements in the periodic table, supposedly with a big dwarf planet that's made of iron, that's far heavier, orbiting something that's far lighter. But stay with that. Say, let's pretend that we can work with that, and that's logical. And it's got a massive orbit, a 3,600 year orbit. It's taking 3,600. It finally comes in after its massive orbit, comes towards our sun, boom, and then shoots out the other side. And it's all over and done in a matter of maybe a year or two, but probably months. You know, it's just boom, and it's gone again. It doesn't really work. We can't stretch that out into any real longevity to count for the type of flybys that we've seen since the Galileo's time, and the repeat patterns that make all of this string together. This is the only way, and God knows I have explored so many different ways to try and get an understanding of how we can make all these flybys work. And when I finally pieced it together to this, oh my God. And that was, you know, Alex Luhan's shot on the 1st of September 2019, which I often show in my in my videos, and I probably better to actually show you, because I showed you in the last video, and I'd probably be better to I did pick it up somewhere in there, didn't I? I showed you that shot, and let me just show you that shot there, rather than actually, it's not the best shot in the world of it, but nonetheless, I do believe there was a glimpse of it there. There, that was on the 1st of September 2019, and sorry, I've got a cursor over it there, that's a shame. But you get the whole cycle of it, and that's looking at the sun. I was saying, look out for it, you know, you're going to see it coming in, and it's going to go around the sun, because everything goes around the sun. That sun's a send off. Oh, look at that. It's in an orbital relationship with something. It's coming as if it's going towards our sun, and then it goes off and it goes out the other side. There's no way that was ever going to go around our sun, even though it looked like, but because we live in a heliocentric model, our sun's in the center. So guys, you know, that's our last model, but you know, I'm of a mind that we saw that cutting through, you know, the big shot that that I often show, if it's there on this model, the big shot that Calvin Looking for Hobbes posted on the 15th of October 2020, I believe. Have I got it on that one? I've definitely got it on that one. That says it was after that, wasn't it? There, the amazing shot. You know, it was just, and that is this one here, and it's cutting across. And like I say, now I realise that so many bits of my model can be now transformed into with repositioning this object back kind of over here, so it will sit in a position where it's almost directly behind our sun as you look at it, because the sun is moving forward the sun's actually moving forward in this direction. And so it, you know, when once I've actually built this out, you're going to find this looks like it's sitting, you know, the sun is going to be moving ahead. Well, I'm going to have to try and show you because it's getting too complex to actually. It's such a massively complex thing to actually bring into proportion there. But you're seeing, just generally speaking, by the comparisons between these two. But when I lay them out in a new model, and I bring them back to the original model, and with all this fine tuning, and bring the 21st of June as the forward movement, and obviously December the 21st as being directly behind, I think you'll get it is all, and we can condense these down now to we could, you know, we're there basically. You're there at that point where you can finally see all of the movements of this object and how they all work together. We can make all of these flybys and all of these sightings seamlessly work together in one massive model. They will all make sense. They will all be totally logical. At the moment, our current model, for the youngsters who play with all these astronomical apps, like I say, they all have to show the sun as a static sun, which is a barbaric 500-year idea. You know, everything we're playing with at the moment in our astronomical model is literally 500-year-old antiquated ideas. We're living a good 500 to 1,000 years behind where we really are in our astronomics, living in belief systems and being made to believe in the most ridiculous ideas to keep us doing the most heinously stupid things that are just centered around war and toxic domination of innocent people, and this object is looking to be unbelievably close to us in late November, early December. And what do we see? We're seeing EU advises citizens to stockpile on emergency supplies. Now they're linking it to Russia, but I guarantee it's not the Russians they're worried about. You know, we've got, you know, North Korea now. They've just fired a one of their new what do they call them? Intercontinental ballistic missiles. Their new one. They're very close to Japan. As a bit of a warning, they've also joined the Ukrainian conflict. We've got Donald Trump saying that Israel should strike Iran's nuclear facilities. This is our second coming. I've got so many friends who think he's the second coming, and he's openly saying go and blow up Iranian nuclear facilities. Openly saying it, publicly saying it as his I can win in the next election. This is what he's openly calling for. And then we're absolutely saying, oh, is it an accident or is it sabotage that has blown up one of Iran's nuclear facilities? You know, and we saw, you know, it's just like absolutely, it's like utterly beyond all comprehension. You know, same thing happening here at the nuclear power station in Russia. You know, who's to blame for that? You know, well, we can see the West kind of like, you can see Donald Trump's kind of like opinion on things. That's the first thing you go for, isn't it? Zelensky accuses Russian forces of lighting fire at the Russian nuclear power plant. This is the modus operandi: dump depleted uranium on bombshells on your enemy, blow up their nuclear sites. That's just what you do, isn't it? This is the second coming. This is the second comings, as in the second coming of Caesar. It seems, you know, that's a good thing. And what do we see? We see this system that they're calling a a fusion system. They've got all these scientists saying they're doing fusion, where you can see there's no complete atom that's coming out of this. This is destroying atoms and releasing all their energy, putting so much energy into these atoms, and then it's taking all these nuclear power stations. We're going to have shutdowns across Europe, shutdowns across Britain, to accommodate the power, so they can ram this amount of power into each electron pair 14 trillion volts into each pair of atoms. You know, I don't know how many billion atoms they collide in a second, but you can see that they're, you know, they've transitioned the whole thing ready for this massive explosion. You know, you can see all over it. You know, people trying to, you know, the only way you can get really any understanding of what they're doing it through this is through the kind of like, it's through the comment sections of different things. You know, it's very complex, but they do this deliberately just to kind of run you off. But you know, that was something. There was some threads I was following there, but understanding that you know, and then we just come back to, you know, where the, you know, because if you want to understand Zionism, where this all started, was it was this guy, this Belgian Catholic priest who published a paper and pushed the idea of that it was that the universe was expanding back in 1927, which led to, you know, Hubble's law, the Hubble constant. You know, which was basically the further something is from Earth, the faster it's moving. Which, can you imagine if we were saying, we would kind of understand a hand grenade, and the faster is something from the center of the hand grenade, the faster it's moving. The further is something, you know, after it exploded, you know, you could understand that, you know, the cracks appear and the denser stuff, you know, is slower to move out, and all the really fastest gases that are coming out between the cracks, they come out first of all, and the little bits are going to get out, and they just travel. They travel further and faster, if you like, because you know, and then the bigger bits are slower moving, but all those bits on the outside, the faster they are from the center of, you know, if you're going to understand something between all of them that applies to all of them, traveling all their various different directions, going around, you can understand the center of the hand grenade is going to be the central point. So we can understand the closer you are to the further you are to the center of the universe, the faster you travel, and understanding the Big Bang. So if you're going to put, the further you are from Earth, the faster you're moving, further something is from Earth, you're putting Earth. Where are you putting Earth? Where are you putting Earth? We're going back 2,000 years. We're going back to you know, Earth is the centre of the universe again. Aristotle. It's just like Catholic. It's just like going back to barbaric science that is trying to tell you this is a fusion system. This is a free energy system. It's taking every nuclear power station across the planet, or across Europe, to fill in, to try and make this the reverse of creation. The reverse of bringing atoms together, blowing them apart. This is fission. This is mushroom cloud. This is destruction. This is absolutely everything against fusion. This is the reverse of creation. This is anti-creation. This is the ultimate in bombs. This is doing exactly what it says on the packet. It is trying to recreate the biggest bang you can get for your buck. It is a bomb. It is Europe that is being offered up as a sacrifice. You saw how big the bomb was when it detonated on Mars, that caused this whole process in the first place, that caused this hole to open. This is 4,000 kilometers long. This is the size of Europe. If this goes off, this is what Europe will look like after. And all the oceans on Earth, this will be much lower. Much of the oceans on Earth will drain through this and create this. And this is what they're trying to create. And you know, we live in complete greenwashing, astronomical. We live in a lie, a whole lie from top to bottom, side to side, front to back. Our saints, the people we hold up, is just like how we could hold them up as the second coming, who's going to roll in. He's going to roll down. I was going to say he's going to roll in from, Trump's going to roll in on his big horse and kind of save the universe. But, of course he's going to roll in on his gold, on his gold escalator. You know what I mean? Apparently after the Twin Towers came down, he was the first to say his towers are now the tallest towers in downtown New York. It's just like victory. It's laughable, but here we are. So it's time to prepare, time to get ready, but also, you're only going from this place if you're not at war. You're not going onto the natural evolution of soul if you don't get attached to all their wars and all their beliefs and get drawn into all their different stories of greenwashing, their nonsense which drags you down and drags you into stories, into Jesus stories, that the earth is dying for your sins and there's got to be a sacrifice. You've got to be sacrificed. You've got to make a massive sacrifice. You've got to believe in building nuclear power stations on fault lines. You've got to believe that somehow this massive bomb is somehow going to be the fusion and savior of your planet. It's a bomb. It's going to just make a big bang. That's all it's there for. It's not offering. It's not creating. It's not throwing energy out. It's consuming vast amounts of energy. And it intends to release all of that energy. It's taken eons. It's taken a long time to get them up to that, to get that amount of energy into them and raise their mass. They're like massive boulders traveling at the speed of light, which they're going to collide on tiny little Earth to create the biggest bang they can. And all they need is the karmic hatred of the entire of Europe, to hate Russia, to hate Putin, to hate the Iranians, to hate Palestinians, to hate everyone, to go to war with the Chinese, to go to war with the North Koreans, to go to war, just all out war. Everything. Europe has to be sacrificed for this. It's Europe that's being sacrificed for this whole thing, to create this big bang. It's all part of the same thing. Because of this thing flying by, because they're terrified of this thing. The real Jupiter, seen on the US Golf Masters, tournament there. And it's just seen above the fairway. And they have to call it a cloud. The cameraman has to call it a cloud because it's just too awkward to look at. I mean, it's just like, what do you do with that? Where is our beliefs? Where are you in this? It's like, what the hell is going on? How can we not see this? So guys, prepare. This is going to be this is going to be one of the biggest flybys I've ever recorded in my life. There's no way you can get around this. You could just see it. There's so much evidence of its movement. And I've charted it for so long. It's very difficult to not understand this if you look at it like I do. We've got something big coming in here, and it's got our governments. It's got a lot of those that are controlling this earth spooked at the moment, and their agenda is desperate to make this happen. They need all-out war on the plane, and I can promise you, your mission here on this earth right now is to wage all-out peace and to better understand yourself and upgrade your humanity with a true understanding of your place in the grand cosmic scheme of things. Honey in the heart, 1,000 thank yous. Any support you want to give me, I will get my Patreon back online again, and I'm going to start re-recording the. Maybe I'm going to post this up on Patreon actually. But none of it's really getting out there. If I'm actually honest with you, it's I think I'm pretty shadow banned as it is. So guys, if you want to share this on your own channels, if you want to put it out there for your own, please do it. It's time to prepare now. Even if you just get the stuff that you're going to eat over the next month and just load it all up, load some water up, just try it and keep the car full. Just be prepared, but also be prepared to represent peace in everything you do and everything you say and everything you are. Be prepared to speak your truth and be as courageous as you can. Don't just sit on the fence like a Humpty and watch this go by. Don't feel guilty that when this time comes that you're not connected in truth to any greatness above, that you've just been part of a whole load of greenwashing lies and a part of a whole agenda which has just been to destroy this earth and to plummet the earth through various different belief narratives. You need to try and connect to the true cosmos right now, and come out of any story that might just be rooted in utter belief and nothing else. You need to connect to the highest now. It's your opportunity. That's more important than gathering food now. It's where you go beyond this. Those that go with this God that is this brutal God, you cannot go with them, incarnate on a world like you do here. You're of earth. You weren't of their ilk. If you go with them and you're of their ilk, you cannot live with them. You betrayed this planet. It would never let you live with them as a brother, as part of their world. You'd always be below them. They always betray those who follow them. You could only exist as the Martians existed with them, as a fourth dimensional being that can only be channeled into whichever world you'd be channeled into after this, in hate. Every thought would have to be hateful. That's how those who fell to the slayers of Mars were imprisoned in a realm. Their whole existence was channeled in hatred. That any expression can never be love. Can only be hate. They've been in a prison of hate for thousands of years for doing exactly what we're doing right now, and they got trapped in that. And they are the hungry ghosts, what Buddha would call the hungry ghosts, that have been channeled into us, that are doubt, hate, and just they can never look at the situation they created for themselves by going down these corridors, or doing all the things we're doing right now. Taking their planet to a place where it was unsustainable, that a karmic door could be opened and a planet could be destroyed, or at least rendered very different. Its oceans could be drained off, a hole could be opened, and its whole, think about what he said in Nostradamus. All should leave Geneva. That's where the Large Hadron Collider is. All should leave Geneva in the the year the air becomes dry. Something like Saturn turns from gold to iron, or from iron to gold, but I think from gold to iron. And beware of the contrary ray pos, the contrary beams of positive rays. Could that mean? Wasn't he warning the same thing? Aren't we just seeing the same thing? It will destroy everything. And when the air becomes dry, it's too late. What do you mean the air becomes dry? Like something's opened up between the worlds, and all the air and the water gets sucked out into another realm. Beware of the contrary ray pos. What does he mean by that? What do you think he means? Contrary beams of positively charged beams of atoms filled with energy beyond anything comprehensible. All the nuclear power stations all across Europe pumping all their energy into single atoms that are being collided at twice the speed of light, and you can't go beyond the speed of light. You start hitting up against the very walls, the very fabric of this realm, which they intend to bust a massive hole through and get out before they get to this thing, because this thing cancels their transmission. Once this thing passes, those that are controlling us, everything's out of the bag. No more secrets. End of war. End of all of this. We all get to see. It's a William Burroughs Naked Lunch. We all get to see what's on the end of the fork finally. Honey in the heart, 1,000 thank yous. Everything you can do right now, whatever your mission is, do it. Be on it. Get stuff together. Be ready to be a pillar of support in your community through this. Stock up on food. Be prepared. You can't fight your way out of this. Remember, only peaceful transition through this. You cannot fight your way to Jupiter. You're the fifth dimension. That is the fifth dimension. It's the place where we build our castles in the sky. That is what we would call heaven. That is Shangri-La. Samsara. Well, this is Samsara, but that is Shangri-La. Take care, people out there. and honey in the heart, you know, big golden rings of protection around you all through this time. This is going to be a big time. Thank you. Bye.